Welcome back to the debrief. Myself, Eric Immesberger, retired ATF, with the president, CEO, Destiny Day of Rudy and Company, the best manager ever. You got something that you want to make happen, that's the phone number you want to call. We'll link
Thanks,
it.
Eric.
But we want to do something a little fun today because we've gotten a lot of inquiries right in this little sweet spot. And that is when you're doing interrogations, criminal interrogations, we've made an arrest and we sit somebody down in what we call the box, which is where interrogations take place. It's a video, audio recorded room, no windows. And that's where we make the magic happen. And people are amazed. How do we get somebody to tell us something that they absolutely do not want to tell us? They have thought 100 ways they're going to give us a story, and they're going to walk out of that room and go home. And we've got an alternate ending to that fairy tale that they have in their mind. So kind of a fun thing, pulling back the curtain and letting you, the general listener, in on some tried and true methods that we use in the box. And we're not giving away the store with this stuff. This is so out there in the public square. It's been written about, movies, you name it, but it works. Here are some ways that we get somebody to tell us something they don't want to tell us. The premise of this question relies on surveillance cameras that the bad guy may not know about. So here is the question. We call it the fork in the road question. So let's just say a gun burglary at a commercial location, typically a strip mall, might be a standalone store, but in any event, it's going to have a large parking lot. So one of the questions that we would ask our target, call it the fork in the road question. Is there any reason that when we review that video, because we're getting it now, I mean, we're talking at the table, but the guys are out there getting this. Is there any reason that you or your car is going to be in any of those videos? Like, is there any reason? Now, of course, the answer that we expect to hear is no. We're looking for the hesitation, because when you tell the truth, you don't have to think up a story. The truth sells itself. If the answer is no, there's no reason I should be on any video because I wasn't there, my car wasn't there, I don't know anything about this crime. That would be a typical innocent person's response, and it would be an instant response. There wouldn't be the hesitation, because when the human condition wants to lie, it causes stress. And the human condition, the brain, when you're trying to formulate a lie, there's a hesitation because the brain has to catch up to the question, what am I going to tell? And then tell it.
So how long of a hesitation are we talking about, though? Because I, as a human that is just stressed all the time, all day about everything, how long is that gap that you're looking for the hesitation? Because if I'm sitting there, I'm just going to go back and like triple check, like, did I drive down that road? No, I didn't drive down that. You know, I'm running through all of those things in my mind.
Hesitation for more than 2 seconds. That's like a good number. But the bad guy may also say, well, I might have driven through that parking lot like on the way home. Really? At 2 o'clock in the morning on that particular day? So we look for the hesitation. We look for some alternate falsehood that he's now going to have to explain why my car may be on a video or I may be in that video. When you ask these questions, I've seen the question framed, is there any reason we're going to find your fingerprints at this crime scene? That's a very specific question. Now, if the bad guy knows that he had 2 sets of gloves on, instantaneous, absolutely not. I wasn't there, because he's already thought of that, and that's going to be his answer. So when you do the fork in the road question, it's got to be broad enough. It has to be simple, and it has to be absolutely believable. Like if the fork in the road question is so complicated that the bad guy hesitates because he's trying to understand what you just said, no good. Simple, believable, and we look for the hesitation. And if we start to get what we call the nonsense story of, well, I might have driven through that. I might have driven down that road. Somebody, I think I might have loaned my car to somebody. Maybe they did. Not the response of the uninvolved. The uninvolved, when you tell the truth, you don't have to think about the truth. The truth is the truth. It's easily stated without thinking about it. And the other thing we say about the truth is it never changes. The truth never changes. So if we ask you the story 4 different times a little differently, we should be getting the same fact pattern from you, the person sitting at the table. And a good investigator, a good detective is going to look for those hallmarks of truth, those believable statements, those statements of an innocent person, and get taken as a whole. That may just be an interview versus an interrogation type scenario. But the fork in the road question, brutally effective. Another question that is very effective for us, the interrogator, is the non-accusatory question. Like, we do believe you're involved in this, but you've run through a story of complete non-involvement. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't there. I didn't do this. I don't know anybody that did it. So you got to be careful with this question. You got to have a little bit of information on your side. You have to have done a little bit of what we call investigation, research. You have to have something of value to say this kind of question. But if you want to extend the probe and get more story, more detail out of your bad guy, the non-accusatory question. And it has to be delivered sincerely. And you should be getting a rapport with this person, and they should almost view this as a conversation they're having with just another regular person anywhere but where they are right now. And it goes like this. I'm not saying that you did this. I'm not saying you did this at all, but I do believe you're not telling me everything you know. I think there's more to your story. And then you start develop themes, what we call themes. And you're looking for the non-verbal reaction of, if they lean in and really start paying attention to you, that theme, you want to develop that theme. So I'm not saying you did this, but I am saying I don't think you're telling me everything you know about it. And then you go into, listen, if you're trying to protect somebody, if you're trying to protect a friend, I understand that. I would want to protect my friend too. And if you're a good friend, you want to protect your friend. However, this is what happened. And we have to kind of choose a side, the side of being a good witness, or the side of, if you were involved in this, we need to deal with this now. And it's a mild way to further the interrogation of, don't think you're telling me everything that you know about this. And then you go into why that may be. Another super effective technique is use of the personal story. And a good detective, a good agent, you need to be able to seamlessly create a simple, believable, personal story that, oh my God, it's almost like you're talking about me and this situation. Like the bad guy getting this story. The purpose of this made up story is to further the quest for information. And it can be something like you're talking to somebody that broke into, let's say, a gun store and stole 20, and you believe you're talking to a person solidly involved in this for a number of reasons. So use of the personal story. You've already gotten denials, personal story. Listen, let me tell you a story about a case I worked 2 months ago. And you're literally almost making this up to fit the situation of the moment. Let me tell you about this case from 2 months ago. I didn't work on it, but my buddy worked on it, and this is what happened. And you're almost creating an exact similar situation to the guy you're talking to or girl. And again, when you see the lean in and they start, involuntarily maybe doing the yes, keep developing that theme. And then if you really think that theme has taken hold, you put a conclusion onto that story that is a positive outcome for this made up fictional person. This worked out for them because it could work out for you too. So those are 3 awesome techniques.
I have a ton of thoughts and just questions for you because I'm on the business side of things. I'm on the marketing side of things. And I can't help but think about how valuable these techniques are for sales teams or for marketing teams. So I've pulled up a couple of notes that I took. So you tell me, fact or fiction, right or wrong, based on each story and how you think it applies. But one, on the fork in the road question, is there any evidence we would find of you at the scene? Is it more, what is the process for how deals get closed? Is there anything that would prevent this deal from moving forward? Is that a good allegory for your fork in the road as aligned to corporate?
For client-facing, corporate, sales, negotiations, seamless applicability. Why do I say that? Fork in the road question. You have objections to the themes that you've been putting out as the negotiator, the salesperson. Some techniques that would kind of be like that is, well, could you tell me what a good deal would look like to you? What am I not saying that would sway you to seriously consider this? What do you want to see in this deal? You force a response from the other person. Either going fork in the road is going to be, listen, I'm not comfortable right now. This isn't the right time. We don't have the fun. Pile on 5 excuses immediately. Or you have that sincere person that this deal is going to get closed, and they will tell you, well, if this could be added, or this arrangement, or this extension of terms, whatever they really want to see that you haven't said, and they want to make this deal happen too, they'll tell you. But you got to give them the opportunity. You got that fork in the road. It's like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere with these themes, getting objections. The fork in the road, now I'm going to take a left. What do you want to see? Almost like a reverse negotiation. I think that's absolutely effective.
And then for the non-accusatory statement, right? I thought a lot about that when I was thinking about just salespeople that I know, right? And there's a difference between the seasoned salespeople that have a ton of experience and the new guys that are, trying to make a name for themselves. But I was thinking about, a good approximation of what that could be in corporate world is something, instead of you're the decision maker, it's who else typically weighs in on decisions around here would be a possible assimilation of the non-accusatory statement. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, again, with experience in the craft of, and you have depth now in the product or service that you're selling, you're going to weave in the answer to the 2 or 3 most encountered objections. There's a field you're dealing with, and from your experience now, here are the 2 or 3 most put on the table objections. You seamlessly work them in, and you could almost personal story it by, I had a deal last month and it really just wasn't moving until I took this out, or I put this in, or, we like to custom create just for you in your office, and you get your objections out that way without it seeming you're lead balling the answer front loaded to these objections. Effective, but yet not so obvious.
Right. I'm glad you led into the personal story, but I also think about the times that I've seen salespeople go out and say, we've helped people like yours with such and such internet speeds, right? There's neighborhoods similar to yours. These are the kind of internet speeds that they're getting. And I feel like that is really what everybody wants to hear at the end of the day from a salesperson.
Yeah, nobody wants to feel they got taken advantage of, and nobody wants to feel that they didn't get something that they really wanted. I used to use this in gun deals when I did undercover work. If I felt the bad guy, and now we're in the car, the guns are in the car, and we're talking about price. Usually price is determined before we show up, but sometimes you got to negotiate it. And if a bad guy wouldn't come off a slightly high price or even a high price, but this sale's happening, the guns are there. I'm buying this gun. It's just a matter of I want to be just like every other bad guy. I want to negotiate the sale of this gun. Or I may say to further deal number one, listen, I think you're asking a little bit too much for that. But you know what? I like you. I feel like we got a relationship. I'm going to give you what you're asking for that gun, but I know you're going to take care of me on the next deal, right? I've set up deal number two, and I've put it out there that the next deal is going to be fiscally a little tighter to the way I want it. You're getting the first deal out of the way, you're setting up another deal, and you're kind of laying the terms out front loaded in a very nice way where it feels good to the bad guy. It feels good to who you're negotiating with. Not that in corporate America, it's bad guy, but sometimes. But I think if both sides leave with a good taste in their mouth and each feel that they have got a good deal, I think that's great. I think that good deal makes another good deal not pie in the sky. That's going to happen. So all of these techniques, seamless applicability to the corporate world.
I think so too.
And we would love to sit down and explain to your team exactly the details, the devil in the details, how we made success in the box, how we made a success in interviews, crisis events, decision making. There's no secrets. We help you, help your industry, help your numbers, help your unit, move the ball down the field. We want to help. And that's the truth. Give us a call. Give us a call. Yeah. Reach right out to Destiny, myself, and we will promptly respond and try to help any way we can. And Destiny will put the links, and we're here.
Yes. Links in the description.